Okay, it's finally time to watch Kira's video, and I've been waiting for this one because the previous video that I watched from him, he told us about some insane things that went on behind the scenes at Intrepid Studios. Now, he didn't want to tell us anything yet at the time because he waited until he can verify some of this information because it was that big, but few hours after he uploaded his video, everything was verified by none other than the man himself, Steven Sharif. And what happened next, we all know. The craziest 48 hours we had in any video game and subreddit whatsoever. I've never seen a subreddit exploding like this before. It was insane. The entire barrel of explosive that they kept on adding more and more powder to just went off to the skies. Brother, it was insane. There's so much ground to cover, and right now people are kind of abusing the state of disarray to spread a lot of conspiracies and, like misleading, like half-truth and all that stuff. So I really hope this man has the receipts, and I really know he keeps his integrity, and I can count on him. That's why I love watching his video. So hopefully, he would have some answers for the questions that are kind of still left hanging in the air.
Okay, what up, friendos? Welcome back. Obviously, you know what we're going to talk about today, but I'm going to give you some warnings up front, so you can follow these immediately and not be disappointed or think I'm baiting you or whatever. If you're interested in like a really abridged version of this story, or you want like bullet point facts,
give us the
or you want
juicy
me
stuff.
to go over
I want the juice.
what has already been leaked or anything like that, and you don't want like a meandering amount of context that I think you need to understand to be able to engage with this fully and know what's going on, this is not the video for you. Somebody else has probably made a shorter video that doesn't just have me saying lots of things that you might not care about, but I think is important. So if that's you, if that's the case, go watch somebody else's video. This is not it. This is, I'm going to try and keep it as brief as possible, but there's stuff here. Number two, anybody that's saying that they know the truth, they are wrong. Not trying to call anybody out. I just know the amount of work that I've done on this story since I knew about it, and I knew about this before anybody else, as evidence from my video the other day. The amount of work that I've done, I've hardly slept. I've been speaking to people all day, every day. I've seen more things than I want to have seen. And I'm telling you that even the people internally at the company do not know all the facts.
Oh, that's such a good point. I actually said the same thing at my previous video. Guys, I know that some people have that notion that everyone at Intrepid Studios were in cahoots with Steven and they knew what's up. That's not the case. I'd even go as far as to say that 90% of the developers and people who worked inside of Intrepid Studios did not know what the hell Steven was planning. I'm willing to bet on it. Okay, I'm that certain. Because if you actually think that 250 employees were in on the plan and they escaped with the money, you're deadly wrong. The company right now is in shambles, and I'm pretty sure they accumulated a serious debt. And Steven kind of want to use this opportunity just kind of bail. But we have to know more about the entire situation from inside a company, where by people that can actually verify this information. So we need some insider stuff, and we need some workers and from Intrepid Studios to start speaking up. And I think we are going to see that as time goes on. But for now, it's mostly just conspiracy theories. But if I'm using rational thinking, no. Most of the developers did not knew anything about this. And if you even think about it this way, most developers actually thought that this game was a legit project. They didn't know what Steven was planning or what the hell is going to happen in the future. And it's just unfortunate. My heart truly goes to them because at the end of the day, they lost their job. And they were incredibly passionate about this game. And they didn't plan to be a part of a scam. So they just kind of got caught into the situation. And now they have nothing, man. They have to find another work to actually reach ends meet. And it's over for them. And everyone is clowning on them right now. And it's not even their fault. It's like one guy at the top that owned the company. That's it. Or sorry, the board, right? The Shadow Council, the Illuminati that owns everything. And for some reason, even though the game was fully funded, you incorporated foreign powers into your company. Oh, why would you do that? That is so off to me, man. Like, why a fully funded game would need outsider people that doesn't know anything about MMORPGs, especially after Steven himself claimed that he doesn't want anyone involved with the like management and funding of the game, other than him. Like, this is so dumb. Man, we really need some more information about this. But yeah, it's definitely not most of the developers' issue.
An incredibly complicated scenario, and anybody who says, you know, it's like this, it's like that, they are wrong. It is what it is. If somebody else beats me to the story and they get all the facts out and I can look at it and say, okay, they really did their legwork there, and this is, you know, nailed on, you can take that story to the bank, all the findings are the same as what I've seen, good for them, congratulations. Hopefully they get there before I do so I can stop this. But with that being said, a lot of the stuff you see on social media right now, a lot of the stuff, especially random people are posting,
yeah, it's just random garbage
all over the place. They are incorrect and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah, it's Twitter facts. It's what I think right now is true, based on what I see and hear. And surely this would never create a broken telephone situation where all the information just distilled into this essence of pure lies. So yeah, it just is what it is, man. You take half a truth and then you distill it so much it becomes like a lie. That's Twitter, most likely. And you know what? It's so funny. There are so many popular streamers, which I would not name here because you already know who I'm referring to, that actually base their entire information off of Twitter. Yeah, that's fun. We reached some truly the pinnacle of humanity. How do you call it? The era of information. Yeah, that's what I've been looking for. Really fun. I love this, guys. And actually, you know, we kind of laugh at this all the time at this channel, but this is why I love Kiro so much, and this is why I will always love his videos. He has so much, or have them, I don't know, my English kind of lost there. He has so much integrity that I have nothing but respect for him. Like, this man would be willing to make a video a month later just because he waited to verify certain information, rather to just ride a wave and just blur out misinformation and half-truth. Like, I completely respect him for that. Like, shout-outs to him. He's so goated.
Not specifically talking about content creators that are posting leaks, because I'm going to corroborate some things here, and then obviously you can contrast and compare that to what some other content creators have said. I haven't had time to watch anybody, don't know what other people have talked about, but obviously I know what I'm going to talk about. So if you are committed to the truth, if you do want to know where this leads, what has actually happened at the studio, you are going to have to wait. Not trying to vague post, not trying to bait people in any way, just telling you there are things that absolutely cannot be talked about right now because
of legal issues, probably.
It's just not ready yet. Like, you can't just put things out into the public without doing the requisite checks. It's irresponsible, it's unethical, and you are also making yourself legally liable. And also, if you are speaking to sources behind the scenes and you put things out without due diligence, you risk their life and their livelihood. And again, that is incredibly irresponsible. So I'm not going to do that.
Wait, but if I've seen a guy on Reddit that had at least 500 upvotes, doesn't it automatically mean that he's right? So I don't know what Kira's talking about here. I don't think you need to wait until you actually verify the information from a reliable source. No, you can just go to Reddit. It's fine, man. Nobody lies on the internet.
I'm going to give you some stuff.
Abraham Lincoln said
overly broad stroke, confirm, deny, and say some stuff that's happened, because obviously I talked about in a video a couple of days ago, and I didn't want to just vanish for the multiple days that it's going to take to get even remotely close to the bottom of this and just not say anything. So this is what you're getting. Sorry if that's not enough, but it's all I can do. Like, I'm trying, guys. I'm so fucking sleep deprived and stressed about this thing. And many times I have said I'm not going to do like the whole investigative stuff ever again because it's not worth, the juice is not worth the squeeze. But obviously, in my mind,
this is big.
I think stuff here needs to eventually come to light, and I'm going to be the one to try and give it to you. So
yeah, especially when so many people, like so many money that came out of people's pocket is being like at risk here. Like, I think this work is important. I think that what he does is important, and it can lead to actual outcomes that may or may not benefit the court case for Steven Sharif, because at the end of the day, I think this guy is 100% getting sued. I think it's just a matter of time until Steven gets sued. He did take some precautions. I heard he moved his apartment. Again, I don't want to just blur out stuff. I heard that. It's not 100% confirmed, so don't catch me here on that. Take it with a grain of salt. But I heard he moved away. I heard he did some stuff that are super shady before he knew the entire thing was going to collapse. I mean, before everything collapsed, because he knew it was going down, so he kind of prepared himself for the worst. But I think this man will be sued. I really hope Gabe Newell will intervene, sorry, and actually, at the very least, would be able to get some people their money back from Steam. At least for the alpha purchases, he could get some refunds to the people. And I know the $200 keys for the alpha that were purchased like months ago and potentially years ago, they can be refunded. I know that. I'm fully aware. But maybe in Steam case, it can be refunded. And I really wish that most players would get their money back, because they deserve it. Even if they invested in a far-fetched dream that wasn't even remotely close to reality, I don't think that we should just point fingers and laugh at them, because at the end of the day, they just wanted a good MMO just as much as I did and you have. So we can't really blame them for believing in their dreams and wanting to support it. I actually kind of respect them in that regard. But if you were toxic online, then you lose your money. I don't care.
Well, obviously, I couldn't get the full story out of the last couple of days. I tried. Sorry, it just wasn't within my capacity. And the news sort of broke overnight while I was asleep. So what happened was I made my video. Everyone was like, Kira's a liar. Not everyone, obviously. A lot of people believed me. Kira doesn't know what he's talking about. You know, he doesn't have any sources. Nobody's told him shit. And then within the next 24 hours...
Oh, God. I bet they felt really good about that.
Essentially completely imploded. This is, again, much more complicated. And for you to understand...
Guys, random question. Why everyone says imploded instead of exploded? Maybe my English isn't that good. Imploded insinuates that something exploded from the inside, right? And exploded is like from the outside? I'm not really sure. Just dumb question. Sorry for pausing the video for that, but I really want to understand that. I'll check it later.
You need a timeline here. I can give you the timeline. I can give you my timeline of how I came to this information and conclusion, and then I can give you the timeline that is verifiable fact of what happened internally at the company. Obviously, missing a bunch of details that will come later, but basically, how I came to this was November 14th, I believe. Again, some of these dates might be off by a little bit, and I might be confusing some stuff because it is what it is. But November 14th, I believe, was the date where it was announced Ashes of Creation will be coming to Steam. I knew the game was coming to Steam before most of the employees at the studio. I knew this because I was informed about it by a source internal to Ashes of Creation and Intrepid Studios that told me
he's well
basically
connected.
Minutes after the internal announcement of the game going to Steam. Why is this important? Two reasons. Number one, it proves that this source was credible. I didn't talk about it at the time because I didn't have a second source independently verifiable to talk about something that could potentially materially harm a company or my reputation. So obviously just sat with it, used it as context, waited for the public to find out, and it came true. October 30th was the internal announcement, and it was to a small group of people within Intrepid. So basically, you know, before most of the company knew, I'd already been told about this. It was then announced that it was coming to Steam, and this proved that this source was credible and had a high level of access. The reason this is important for me to tell you is because obviously that source later messaged me on the 29th of January, so a couple days ago, and said,
"The ship is sinking, brother. Save
Ashes
us."
of Creation, Intrepid Studios has been sold. This is a quote. Intrepid Studios has been sold.
I heard someone say that. Like, God bless. That's crazy. Wow. So it was sold. It's true. Okay. I can't believe it, man. I actually can't. It was sold to who, though? Do we know? I wonder if we talk about that. That's actually very interesting. I thought to myself, why in God's name would Steven Sharif sell a fully funded game to a random company? It's so odd. Like, why would you ever do that? unless you wanted to escape on a golden parachute. It actually raises a lot of questions, but at the same time, I think it raises a few answers. I think Ashes of Creation, and it's gonna sound really odd what I'm about to say next. I think it started as a scam. Steven saw genuine potential in it and he tried to make it real. And then it all ended up failing because he didn't know what the hell he was doing because he was so incompetent. And then it just turned back into a scam. I think that's what happened, or at least most likely, based on the information we know right now. But hey, you know what? I may be wrong about everything. We just have to wait and see.
With this comes some things. Steven has resigned. He's no longer with the company. The staff is being reduced from around 250 employed staff to 70. They are also planning to take the studio overseas. What does this mean? Take it overseas means they are
get someone to do it for cheap. That's it, for cheaper. Sorry, that's basically what it means. And will the quality be good? No, but to be fair, in Ash's case, the quality wasn't great in the first place, so maybe it would be some sort of an improvement. But in either way, what the hell are they going to do with Ashes of Creation? The name is completely tattered, and clearly you don't have any game to work on. So even if you turn it to like the best MMO out there, who cares? Ashes of Creation name is only going to sully everything you do. It's way better to just completely change the game and maybe take some of the assets, and that's pretty much it. But even then, like, why would you not create a game from scratch? They're using Unreal Engine 5. I mean, what are you trying to do here? Save time? In 10 years, they couldn't do better than this. So I just find it really odd. Like, who would buy this?
Planning to hire cheaper labor, outsourced, and finish the game that way for as cheaply as possible. In terms of the company being sold, it was to private equity. Private equity group now owns Intrepid. Now,
it's a shadow
obviously,
council.
Once I see this, and it's from the same source that already proved themselves credible with the prior story, you might think I can just go public with that because of the how high level of an access they'd proven to me and them being correct previously. But past results do not dictate future results. And obviously, I can't verify that just because somebody was credible once and told me the truth once, that they will permanently, in perpetuity, going forwards.
He's really careful with the information he's getting, man. I love this. Like, this is actually good. It feels so refreshing to watch. After watching all of the rot and miasma and misinformation we have on, like, any platform, honestly, it's just so refreshing to see one honest guy in the midst of, I don't know what to even call it, man. It's not even a circus. It's just a pure clown fiesta.
Still couldn't do anything with it. But at the time, I knew this was such a huge announcement. Like, this was a cataclysmic event for the MMO genre that I needed to try and do something with it. But the easiest way for me to try to get you the details, to get this story in front of you as quickly as possible, was to put it in a video. Couldn't talk about the details. So, more for people internal to the studio, I mentioned, I've heard a rumor, you know, if you work at the studio, let me know. It wasn't to bait people. It wasn't to, like, make viewers upset that I was, like, you know, trying to make fun that I know something and you don't, or grift or rage bait or anything. It was in the furtherance of getting this story out there because it was crazy. And I'm sure now that you've seen what has happened, you understand why there was a requirement of fucking delicacy, of not just talking about this, because if I was wrong and I talked about that, that's an insane fumble to the degree that I should have been sued and I would have lost all credibility. So obviously that's why I didn't do it, even if I was 99.99% sure that due to this source's previous history.
I feel... Okay, I have a question about this, not about the topic itself. Can you actually get sued for... be wrong about, like, one thing? Because it feels like nowadays everyone spreads misinformation and they state things they think that are true as facts, and when it proves false they don't care and nobody sues them. And again, I'm talking about the top dogs at Twitch streams. Like, you know who I'm talking about. Like, the dog shocker himself spread so much misinformation. Like, what? Like, can you really be sued for that? For me, it feels like you can't. Otherwise, these people would have been in prison already.
that this was basically fact, especially because a lot of the details around it that I can't go
It wasn't a shock color, it was a vibration color. True, I forgot about that. I actually forgot about that. My bad. I spreaded the misinformation, of course. Kaya just, like, moved on her own.
into now, right now, sadly, all lined up with stuff I'd already seen and noticed. Now, that was a long point, because remember I said 2 points regarding the Steam launch and why it was important. The second point that the Steam launch is important, not just for proving that the source was credible, was that the Steam launch really marked a difference in Ash's creation and Intrepid Studio, something that people could have paid attention to if they were really, really looking hard enough. And that is, at least publicly, the game going to Steam didn't make sense. It really didn't make sense. It was a very bad idea, and it signaled something bad was going on. But this was even worse if you knew the context privately, because Intrepid Studio has always been relatively transparent in terms of they know where they're going. The studio knows where they...
No, they didn't. They just made face. It was all theatrics. It was all one big charade, and now we know it was fact. Because when they showed us some certain gameplay aspect of their game, it either didn't really exist or it existed on a very flat surface level. Listen, I'm speaking as someone who used to watch their monthly developer update. Like, literally, I used to wait for it, okay? At the end of each month, I watched that. Like 3 hours, sitting back, relaxing, having a drink, something to eat, and watch my man Steven Sharif talking about Ashes of Creation. I couldn't wait more for that. And as someone who watched all of this, I can tell you that as time progressed, I saw how their development was being slowed to a halt. Like, literally, we had no progress shown whatsoever. We had some really big improvements over time at the beginning, and then it just stopped. And they started showing more and more concept and more ideas and things that will be in the future of the game rather than actual tangible stuff. And that's when I dipped. That's when I started suspecting the game and I stopped watching these developer updates, and I understood that something was off. Yeah, like, this was the time, for sure. So to say they actually built something and they were relatively transparent, it's not true. Putting a charade in front of someone, like, it's not reality. It's fake. It's even worse than, actually trying to be transparent, right? No, sorry, it's actually worse than lying because you're deceiving. Like, there's a difference. Believe me, there is.
They are going.
I hope it made sense.
What milestones they're working towards, how long it's going to take to get to these milestones, and just a general direction. The Steam release signaled that something was very, very wrong with Ashes of Creation and Intrepid Studio. And the reason for that was because nobody knew that shit was happening. Nobody knew. There was a...
No, that wasn't the reason. The reason is that they charged $50 for an early alpha access, something that the company, should pay other people to do. They took money from us, the players. They had the gall, the audacity to charge 50 buckaroos from our wallets. That is disgusting. And that's why people were suspicious. It wasn't the fact that, they didn't say anything. Because if the game was good and they launched it early access and they launched it either for really cheap or for free, people would have been fine with it. People wouldn't have cared. This wasn't the reason for why people were mad. They were mad because Intrepid Studios asked for 50 doubloons from you, and they gave you essentially nothing. There wasn't anything inside of the game to even test. The game was so bare bones, you couldn't even believe it was developed 10 plus years ago. It's insane. Like, it's crazy. It's mind-boggling to even think of. One guy, again, I'm constantly raising this problem over and over again. It kind of feels like I'm kind of feeling like a broken record here. You really need to start seeing Unreal Engine 5 solo developer projects. Your mind would be blown with the things you can pull off with Unreal Engine 5. You're telling me that a fully fledged team of 250 developers, 10 years, couldn't achieve a quarter of what one person have? And I know that they haven't started as 250 employees. Guys, I know that, okay? No need to mention that. I know, I understand. But even if the past 2 years they had 100 employees, which is not the case, you shouldn't have this much of a nothing burger on our plate. Like, you shouldn't. It doesn't make any sense. And this is something I advocated for so much. I mean, so much of my time on this platform. And nobody believed me. Like, all of the haters, like, just disliked bomb my videos and told me, oh, it's not for you. It's alpha. It's alpha. Like, yeah, it's alpha. And now it's nothing. Enjoy.
Meeting called on October 30th, and it was just dropped on people, and then obviously it spread throughout the company in the, you know, a short period of time, and then they announced it publicly on November 14th. But the fact that this was not a goal that they were working toward, and it just snap of a finger, we're doing this, and it's a huge thing that they're doing, and it didn't make sense to people, that was a real problem when you knew about this behind the scenes, like with how things were going and how things had progressed throughout the studio's history. This was a real marquee moment of like, oh shit, something's amiss, right? Something's afoul. So that's why that was important, for those two reasons. Now, obviously that's a whole bunch of context, and I'm sorry because this is required to follow along with the story to understand sort of like how crazy this is. So on the timeline of the events of the studio closure, obviously goes back a long time, and I can't get into any of that right now, but what I can get into is like the recent, like, actual fucking implosion of the company. On the 29th of January, there was a meeting held.
So, like,
within
few
this
days
meeting,
ago,
it was understood that basically the studio would be massively downsizing from that 250 to around at least over 100. It depends who you speak to, but at least over 100, 150, 170. Like, the majority of the studio was going to be let go. At that time, Stephen Sharif resigned. It tracks. What he said publicly tracks from everything I can tell. So Stephen resigned, and as he resigned, so did much of the senior leadership. Again, as he said in this public message, this is actually kind of accurate, almost completely accurate. At that point,
guys, I just wish Steven's message on Discord was, screw all of y'all, you got giga scammed. I'm running away to Mexico to chug some mojitos. And that's it. You never find him again. It's over. He's out. Because that would have been way more realistic than the crap he wrote here. I do not believe a single sentence of this, because I know there's a truth behind this. This is just, again, it's face. It's not real. It's a mask. Sorry. It's a masquerade. It's not real. I mean, I do believe that Steven just tried to, like, you know, stick it to the man and say, oh, I quit. I can't stand for this. Like, blah, blah, blah. Sure, I believe that happened. But at the same time, you cannot tell me that he did not know this was coming. You cannot tell me the man that claimed that his entire company and game was fully funded by him alone is actually, you know, is actually giving more power to foreign forces. It doesn't make sense to me. He knew something was up. I don't believe this. I do not believe this. It's all a mask. It's an act session. Like that's it. That is all.
The intention, as I said, was to fire a bunch of people and continue the studio. The next day, Friday the 30th, right? I'm not getting my dates wrong. Friday the 30th, the studio was closing and everybody was losing their job. So basically, trying not to speak out of turn here or say something I shouldn't. A lot of people are posting online right now.
Just say allegedly
that
afterwards.
there is no board. That Stephen and John are the only board, and therefore Stephen has scammed, stole everybody's money, blamed it on the board being him and John, and then vanished. This is going to be unpopular to say. And if you trust me, based on my reputation, you're just going to have to trust me, bro, on this one. There was a board. You're going to find out there was a board.
But there shouldn't have been. It's Steven's fault there is a board. If you gave your company to other people that clearly doesn't work alongside your ideas and goals, then you're the dumb one. It's stupid. And I said the exact same thing about the Blizzard Activision merger. Like, it was a death sentence. And at the time, Activision wasn't as greedy as today, but it was still hella greedy. So Blizzard should have never taken that. Never. Like, never taken that deal. Ever. And look now what happened. It's the same thing with Ashes. Even if that is the real case, Steven is the dumb one and it's his fault. Like, I literally do not care. I won't have any sympathy for a guy who claimed his game was fully funded and then gave other people power over him. Like, never.
You're going to see facts that there was a board. It's not going to be popular for you to hear this, but he's not lying here.
Doesn't matter.
You know how I know provably that there was a board? You can't know because I can't show you. But there is internal communications going back months that I've seen with my eyes, that I've 100% verified from multiple different sources, that there absolutely was a board. And this is going to play a major factor going forward, and you're just going to have to wait to find out why. Again, I will get you this as soon as I can. It's just not something I can do right now. Basically, this board decided that because Stephen and much of the senior leadership resigned, the plan of 70 people are going to stay and we're going to take this overseas changed within 24 hours to we are issuing the WARN Act and everybody's being fired. And within 3 minutes of the WARN Act being emailed, I was in possession of it.
Damn.
Within probably an hour of the copy of the letter that was being first class sent to people on the 31st of January, I was in possession of it. And I can read you, like, obviously you'll have probably already heard some of the letter already. But the letter and the email are contradictory to each other because the email was first and the letter just the email was basically like, the WARN Act, some people are going to be fired. You're going to find out who's going to be fired. The letter obviously proves that it went.
The email was like an invitation to a battle royale, and the letter was like winner, winner, chicken dinner. But nobody got that one.
From some people are being let go and laid off to you're all being laid off. The entire, they call it plant closure. And here it is. January 31st, via first class and electronic mail, Dear Intrepid Studios, Inc. employee. On February 2nd, 2026, Intrepid Studios, Inc., Intrepid or company, located at, insert address, will issue a layoff notice to all of its employees via first class mail. This note affects all job titles and all positions. The company has no alternative other than to undertake an entire and permanent plant closing within the meaning of the WARN Act by close of business on February 2nd, 2026. Currently, the company does not have plans to coordinate with the local law workforce development board, and there are no bumping rights. Please be advised of the following required notices, and then a bunch of legal things. So this went out. Obviously, some other content creators, I believe, have also been in possession and talked about this, but I don't think you had the context that that was not the plan. The plan was originally to fire
outsource the game.
Most of the employees and take the development overseas. Now, obviously, everybody is going to go crazy and has been doing this whole time.
But it feels so weird. You now have the game in your possession and you just went nuclear and just sank the entire ship. You're not even going to try salvaging it? It's just so odd to me. But again, the game had nothing to offer. It doesn't have even the basics, man. You can't make this game up. It's so bad. It's just so bad. It's way better to actually start from scratch on Unreal Engine 5 rather to try to salvage this game. So now I think it kind of makes sense that I think about it, because there's nothing. It's way worse than to try fix a broken product than essentially starting from scratch. It depends how broken the product is, but Ashes is just it's not, I don't want to even say the word incomplete. It just doesn't exist. It's just like fake. It's one of those games you see like kids play in a movie, right? Like one of those fake games. Like, that's what Ashes is.
And they're going to run with whatever narrative either makes the most sense for them or makes them feel the best, because a lot of people are very upset, rightfully so, over what has happened here. I just want to let you know a couple things. Obviously, again, there is going to be more coming out. I just don't know when. Like, I'm working on it. I'll do it as good as I can to get that to you, if possible. Like, who fucking knows at this stage? And you'll understand, if I do get it in front of your eyes, why exactly this was such a big deal. One thing I want to say that's very, very important is the employees here have been fucked more than anybody.
Yeah, as I said,
They
yeah.
are being fired without money that they're owed in multiple facets. They were owed bonuses for Alpha 2 delivery, they're not getting paid. They
My
wrote
God.
PTO, not getting
Wow.
paid. Severance, not getting paid. Money for even just normal payroll for the last month that they worked, not being paid.
Really?
They're being fired in an industry that has fired thousands of people over the last 2 years, tens of thousands of people,
Yeah.
and like 70% of those workers still haven't found work.
Of course, and they're not going to. Like, that's just reality. They're gonna do something else. They're gonna do something else, probably that relates to programming and stuff, but they're not gonna work in the video game industry. The video game industry, and this is something that I've always said, is brutal. That's why I understand developers' frustrations where when day game is essentially being pivoted by those greedy corporate entities that want their game to speak to like audience that doesn't belong to them, and the game just end up dying. Recent addition to this we've seen is Highguard. Everyone's talking about this. Now, I'm not talking about this because obviously it's not an MMO, and their entire world pretty much just said what I have to say about this, so there is no point in doing so. But I'm just using it as an example here. I think that the people who worked on Highguard were actually extremely passionate about it. Because the people who worked on it worked on Apex, which is a really good game. They worked on Titanfall 2, which is a phenomenal game. And more games such as this. So clearly they were passionate, but I guess some people that were responsible at the top, like at the top layer of management, they made sure this game would be garbage by taking certain actions that shouldn't have been taken by them. So it should have been taken by an actual competent leading man that has any idea about development. And that's pretty much it. So it's one of those reasons, and man, my heart truly goes to the developers of Ashes of Creation. They're not probably going to find any work soon because everyone wants to be a video game developer, but nobody's going to be able to do so unless you somehow find a work for Riot. And even then, Riot has laid off like hundreds of employees, right? I was about to say thousands, but no, it was actually hundreds. It was crazy. Like the situation entirely just sucks. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, man. It's reality.
Because nobody's hiring in the games industry,
And we're all gonna be replaced by AI soon anyway.
because the games industry
Just wanted to
by
throw
and
it in
large,
out there.
has been shrinking in terms of open positions. They've been firing, not hiring. The employees have been turbo fucked in this scenario. Everyone's been fucked, no more so than the employees. So obviously it should go without saying, but leave these people alone. They've just had like a real fucking bad day. Also, wait for the facts. Like, trust me on that one. Just wait until you've seen everything, and then, you know, make whatever conclusion based on that you want. You don't have to believe me, obviously. If you don't, you don't, and you're never going to. But those of you who do, just trust me and just wait, and, you know, we'll get there together. The last thing that I'll say is this game is now owned by a private equity group. There is a possibility that even though they've just laid everyone off, they just lay low for a little while, and then they try to revive this with a completely outsourced overseas team, and just weekend at Bernie's this.
I really wish that would be the case because I can make more videos about it. I really wish that would be the case. It's going to be hilarious. And you know what I wish even like more than that? Is that the game would actually be good. That would be hilarious. And man, I am going to be there for it.
Motherfucker try to sock puppet this thing into your hands again. And while it might be tempting, if you are a fan of Ashes of Creation, to just be like, oh, you know, that's cool. We might get to play the game eventually, and who cares who's making it or whatever. I'll remind you of this very simple fact. Whether you like Steven, whether you agree with Steven, before today, last year, whenever, Ashes of Creation is Steven Sharif. Steven Sharif is Ashes of Creation.
Yes.
Without him, without the people that you've followed and watched month on month in the developer interviews, the people that you've talked to in the community, the people that have been making this game this entire time, the game that presumably some of you guys loved, without those people, this thing is fucked. Fundamentally, this game does not exist anymore. Technically, it might exist one day by completely different people. And the promises that you were sold on that made Ashes of Creation relied completely on Steven's involvement in the project. Without...
But Steven's involvement in the project turned to be the worst thing ever. The game sucked. We saw it in the early alpha state, and again, they had 10 years to give you something way better. Or at least something that shows promise at the very least. But I couldn't pull that off. So why would I count on Steven to actually redeem this game? This would be the dumbest thing ever. It's literally like being saved from a sinking ship and then just go back in. Like, why would you ever do that? That is so odd. Like, Steven isn't going to be the savior of this game. He's not going to have a redemption arc. He failed once miserably. Why would we trust him again? No. I don't understand this point here. I truly don't.
Him, there is no promise of no corporate interference and pay to win and fucking lessening of hardcore features and turning it into something it was never supposed to be. Without Steven, this project doesn't exist. So if private equity shows up and starts sock puppeting this fucking game around and saying, you know, come buy into this, or, you know, we're definitely not going to ruin this thing and we're doing some more development, just know that that's where you stand. Obviously, do what you're going to do with your own time and money. I'm just letting you know. It might not be the end for Ashes of Creation as like a fucking game, but it's absolutely the end for the dream of what Ashes of Creation was going to be. So just be...
But that's what all it was. It was a dream. And that's it. It's a dream turned into a nightmare. And honestly, I wish that would have been the case. That wouldn't have been the case, because I wanted a new MMORPG to play on so much and to experience it with so many people from scratch and starting at the same level. And now that's not going to happen. I'm just going to continue playing the games that I've already played. Right now I'm playing Guild Wars 2 and Where Winds Meet. Thank God for China actually giving us good games. Otherwise, I don't know what I would have done with this channel, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, there isn't going to be a new MMO on the horizon anytime soon. The only one I can kinda see happening is Riot MMO, and even that is under so much fog, you can't tell if it's going to happen or not. So much has changed during development. They literally lost their lead director, like Ghostcrawler, and they had to essentially start from scratch, as far as I heard. So many things are off about this project, and again, I'm not really complaining because they haven't taken a dime from us, the players, so it's fine. But at the same time, we have no clue what this game is going to be like. We don't even have a notion of where it's going. So it is what it is. Only time will tell. The next MMO I'll play is probably going to be with my grandkids. And maybe that's a good thing, because I can force them to heal me.
Where it might pop back up. There's no way to know. But obviously with the people that are involved in this, in terms of who now owns the company, they are going to want to get some money out of this thing. So wouldn't be surprised if this is the last time you see it. It is what it is.
Hey, you said my thing.
If you're somebody that's posting a bunch of hate about somebody regarding
that's my line.
Whether it's a content creator that promoted the game, a lot of those people did so because they liked the game and they wanted it to succeed. It's not...
No, that's not true. They did not like the game. And I know one name that I really want to throw out here. I reacted to his video, and it was filled with so much... I don't want to call it... It wasn't negativity. It was so passive-aggressive. You could tell the guy hated the game. He hated the early alpha access, but he tried to make it so positive that even Steven himself have commented on his video. And the reason he did that is because he wanted to be on Steven's good side. He didn't like the game. The game was garbage. He knew that. He said himself towards the end of the video that he didn't want to do the grind to actually get more levels and reach the endgame stuff because it wasn't worth it. It wasn't fun. He said so himself. So I don't want to call out specific names. You probably know who I'm talking about. But at the same time, yeah, many people did not like this game. They just wanted to be on Steven's good side.
Their fault. They wasn't in on...
And the reason they tried to do so is because they wanted to bank on the fact that Ashes of Creation can potentially be the next big MMO, and it all blew up in their faces.
On this... You know,
there's
not a broad machination here of evil people cartoonishly chuckling and laughing at your expense. It's just people who wanted the game to be good, and sure, some of those people might have had a financial inducement dangled in front of them. Not a single one of these motherfuckers got paid a penny, and they also got fucked, just like everybody else, just like you did, just like the employees did. And generally, if you're sending hate to people about something that's happened that you know the full facts about, that's not a good look. That's not a good thing to be doing. It obviously sucks, and I know people are going to be very, very rightfully so upset about this because it's crazy. It's out of the blue. It seems like the fucking wildest thing ever, and there's going to be a lot of people saying we were right, it was a scam, and this and that.
To be fair, most of them are right. I mean, listen, brother, at the end of the day, I don't really care. Steven Sharif made all of this happen. By doing it, like, maybe vicariously and all that stuff, sure, he made this entire situation happen. It's all because of him. No matter how you try to spin it, like, oh, this thing happened and that thing happened. Whenever you're in charge of a company and you're fully funding it, like he said, he claimed that. That's his word, not mine. You are liable to the faults of this game as well. You can't take all the W's without catching the L's. It doesn't make any sense, okay? It's written in the Bible. Like, just check it out. But honestly, like, dog, you're really gonna tell me that Steven can somehow dodge any of the responsibility? Like, no. No. That ain't gonna fly by me. I have literally zero sympathy towards this man. I think he should be 100% sued because everything that happened is because of him. He took more and more and more money from the players after fully funding this game during the years that he has no reason to. He stalled the project so much that it took him, like, what, 800 no, sorry, 8,000 800, Jesus, man, I'm so bad with numbers in English. $800,000 per week of development. How? How do you spend so much money and you get zero product? It doesn't make any sense. It's so fishy. If he was mismanaging the company and didn't plan on this, like, being an actual scam, then it's his problem as well. You're not gonna get any sympathy tears from me. Because either way, if this is a scam or not, he screwed up. Big time. And he deserved a fallout. He earned it. Rightfully so.
I'm not saying this because it's my opinion. I'm saying this because it makes the most sense. Wait for all the facts. It's the only reasonable thing to do. And that's coming from me, Rage Beta Drama Farmer Kira, who, if I could...
There is no fact that would make Steven, like, exonerated out of this entire situation. Like, no way. Like, nothing. Nothing would change my mind. Literally nothing.
Would be calling this a scam as quickly as possible to rake in all that ad revenue from all the clicks of the people that were angry and want to jump in and say, I told you so. That's me saying, just wait, and you're going to find everything out in due time. That being said, again, hopefully, despite me outlining it at the very beginning, that I wasn't going to give you all the facts and it was just going to be me talking about things, I hope you understand why I'm saying those things. There will inevitably be some people that are disappointed I didn't, let you...
Fair enough. Yeah, it seems to be the end of the video here. It was a great video. It was very informative. I mean, even if it didn't tell us, like, all the facts, it's completely fine. He actually spoke about some really interesting stuff there, and he knew about all of that. And you know what? I respect that guy so deeply. By the way, I'm gonna leave a link in the description. Go into that link right now. Give him a like and a sub. He deserves it. Like, this man is so good at what he does, and I respect him so much for having this much integrity. At the same time, some points I didn't agree with him there. I don't think that any truth that we will discover during the years would exonerate Steven. I don't think so. No matter what happens, he was in charge. He's at fault here. No matter what. Like, you need to understand, even if he gave other people, like, power into his company, that was the dumbest mistake I've ever heard about in my life. Even if he mismanaged the product and it wasn't a genuine scam from the start, that's his fault. Mismanagement is also your problem. You need to understand that. He was the guy in charge. He planned all of it. So mismanaged time, money, development... you need to take all of those things into consideration. And I don't care if you guys tell me, oh, he's just a passionate gamer, he's not fully aware of development. Then pay someone who do understand development. I don't care. Don't take it upon yourself. Like, why do you take a job that is clearly above your pay grade? Well, not really your pay grade, because this guy is filthy rich. He can buy me. But, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm not that expensive. At the same time, like, it doesn't matter. If you don't understand what you're doing, then go the hell away. Just back off. Let someone who knows the business take care of the business. Like, that's it. It's that simple. And honestly, I don't understand why not many more people are talking about this. It's just odd to me. But at the same time, there is a lot of negativity that goes towards the developers, which I think is unjustified. And I really wish that people who watch this video would that actually partook or partake in that process, like would stop that. Like, don't give any negativity to the developers. They don't deserve it. They didn't know what Steven was doing. And I think we're going to discover more about that as time goes on. But at the end of the day, yeah, this entire situation is just a one huge bummer because I really wanted a good MMO to play, and now I'm not going to have it for like a decade. So, yeah, it is what it is, man. I guess this is how it has to end.